Regular applications. Harvard class of 2027 acceptance rate. What the Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Regular applications, 47,384. Early applicants, 9,553. There's a 2.6 acceptance rate for regular applications. There's a 7.6 acceptance rate for early, because, if you apply early, you really only applied to one school. That's your one and done. If you get in, boom, that's where you're going. Overall, they have a 3.4% acceptance rate.
Yeah, and that's probably their capacity.
Mm-hmm.
They accept up to their capacity. So, you're talking 50,000 kids roughly,
Mm-hmm.
1,500,
Mm-hmm.
2,000.
But you realize we have 100, and we have 130,000 public, it's 100,000 K through 12 public schools and 30,000 private. So that's out of a student body coming from 130,000 schools across the nation, public, private, whatever. 56,000 of those kids are applying to Harvard.
It's now, out of those 50,000 kids, is it fair to them to, let's just say 1% of them is legacy. So now you only have 1,700 spots left.
Mm-hmm.
So is it fair to pick that on race? That's all the
It's
question
not about
is.
picking it on race, though. It's about allotting a certain number of spots out of a class.
Based on race.
Yeah, but still competing within the same parameters.
Yes. I believe that academics should
Of academics,
speak above all.
extracurriculars,
Yes,
what they're bringing to the table is sports, community engagement. I mean, you're talking about the creme de la creme.
Yeah, but
regardless.
you just hit on something. Sports. So
You're also talking about now you're getting into financial need based applicants. You're talking about,
is it fair? Is it fair that someone who plays football better gets into a college? Is it fair that someone who plays football better gets into a college?
Well,
is that fair?
There's scholarships but here's the deal. There's scholarships set aside specifically for those individuals.
It's not about paying. It's not about paying. It's about academics.
No, but that's set aside. That's set aside. And on top of that, here's the deal. Whether it's fair or not, any student on a campus needs to acknowledge the fact that unless you're at an Ivy League, and even there, they like a win. Most of what you see around your campus is predicated on how great your sports teams are. People like to be a part of winning legacy. This is a different conversation, but even at the University
it's
of Miami.
It's sort of a different conversation, but
what I'm saying,
let's just say, okay, now we have 0.5% put aside for
But that doesn't
athletics.
happen, because that doesn't happen at Harvard. You don't get in because of your sports ability.
Yes, but if academics are the basis, then there shouldn't be any issue.
But here's the issue.
So
But you know what? Lenny, here's
if
where
academics were the basis, none of them would have a football team.
But this is why white kids are angry, and that's because that's who's bringing this up. This isn't about white students in general feel they are being discriminated against because they are not a protected class. So this is what the accusation.
Isn't that expected?
What?
Isn't that expected?
But listen to what I'm about to say to you, Lenny. So I'm explaining. There are more white students out of that amount of people that are applying. There are more white students with access to that level of education, whether it is private, whether it's a great public school. Look at what do you think the demographics are of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School? Lenny, my point to you is this. You're competing with a larger pool of your people. So, of course, the competition is going to be higher.
But what do you mean, your people? It's these are kids. These are
but what
college
I'm saying,
kids.
Lenny, the reason there's affirmative action is because there are less Black and brown students that have the academic background and basis to apply and get accepted. So they're setting aside a certain amount. You're still competing. It's just there's less. About 40% of its newest class admitted are white, compared to 56% a decade ago. During that same time frame, the share of admitted students who are Asian American rose from 21 to 28%.
Those are admitted. What are the applicants?
Right down to they're just giving me the Harvard students as a race. It's 40% white, 27.5% Asian, 10.8% Hispanic Latino, 9.3% African American, 2.2% Native American, Alaskan, so basically Pacific Islander, Hawaiian, and 10.6% mixed race or unknown. That is the
demographics of the class.
At Harvard, an Asian candidate is the 8th highest academic decile, had a 5.1% chance of admittance, compared to 7.5% for white people, 22.9% for Hispanic, and 44.5% for black applicants, per the brief.
If you're 44% more likely to get accepted because you're black versus
but you're acting
8% Asian.
You're acting like just any rando black person is applying. That's got to be a statistic based on the number of black students that are actually
right now,
applying.
It's if you just forget about whites. If you go 44% of black students get accepted, over 8% of Asian students get accepted, that doesn't why is that fair?
Out of how many though?
And
and
guess what? What is
the Asian population in America?
What do you mean?
What is the Asian population in the U.S.? The University of California higher education system did a whole study on this, and their goal, and they have highly, highly competitive higher education institutions. You're talking about Berkeley, you're talking about UCLA, and they got rid of affirmative action. The state of California, I did not know this, back in 1996. That was a bill that was passed. So affirmative action has been gone there for what? Almost 30 years. And they have studied it and followed it, and they saw a dramatic decline in the diversity of their campuses following the banning of affirmative action. And their main goal was to ensure that their student body population was reflective of the graduating classes of both public and private high schools, right? So they felt that if, again, 60% of the graduating, high school students were white, 60% of their student body should be that. If 20% were black, 20% should be that. If 10%, and so on and so forth. And they have not been able to maintain that level of diversity on their campuses, in particular at the UCLA's, the highly competitive, outlets of the University of California higher education system, since the ban was put on affirmative action. And they have spent millions and millions of dollars trying to engage students, and there's a lot of different reasons.
Did the applicants of different races drop when they stopped affirmative action? Did the applicants of different races drop when they stopped affirmative action?
Yes, I told you that.
The applicants.
Yes, they saw a noticeable decrease in the amount of people for multiple reasons.
A notable decrease in the student body.
No.
But is that accepted, or is it applicant-wise?
It's applicants, Lenny. I told you. I've sent you articles and you don't read them.
Okay, so if it's applicants, then that's what I don't understand. So what you're telling me is they stopped affirmative action, and black and Asian and Latin kids stopped applying to the colleges?
Those programs have enabled UC to make significant gains in its system-wide diversity. Yet despite its extensive efforts, UC struggles to enroll a student body that is sufficiently racially diverse to attain the educational benefits of diversity. The shortfall is especially apparent at the system's most selective schools, the university leader said. An affirmative action ban first caused a huge drop in diversity at top California universities. In 1996, California voters approved Proposition 209, an affirmative action ban at public universities in the state.